Since last November's election, the lives of American Muslims and of all Americans have changed. Our nation and its commitment to equality and equal justice has been tested by the rise of hate.
Jews will not replace us!
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Our nation has been tested by white supremacy and Islamophobia being used as a basis for policy making.
Heimbach says the president has been an inspiration.
He's opened up a door. His movement has opened up a door, but it's up to us to take the initiative.
He's a reflection of the excitement that Mr. Trump has engendered in the white supremacist movement.
We have witnessed an unprecedented spike in hate incidents targeting American Muslims and their institutions.
More than 500% surge of anti-Muslim hate crimes across the country over the past few years.
A 25-year-old man is facing arson and hate crime charges for allegedly burning a mosque in Victoria.
We've seen a tremendous, unprecedented spike in anti-Muslim and anti-minority and anti-immigrant incidents.
Hate crimes against Muslims in the United States went up 57% from 2015 to 2016.
In a groundbreaking legal victory, a federal judge allowed a CARE lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of the terror watch list to move forward. CARE's lawsuit is the broadest ever challenge to the watch list. This victory could lead to legal precedent protecting the rights of American Muslims and all Americans for generations to come.
The focus of our litigation department is to develop strategic litigation that is designed to target those discriminatory policies, those discriminatory government practices that are being put in place by this administration.
All CARE's legal and political initiatives are backed up by hard data, produced by our National Islamophobia Department and published on the new Islamophobia.org website, which is now the top result for searches using the term Islamophobia. CARE reports outline the spike in anti-Muslim hate and the well-funded and well-coordinated network pushing that hate.
The data we gather is very important because it provides a reflection of the civil rights implications of anti-Muslim bias in the United States. The data also backs up our assertion that Islamophobia is a problem and that it affects people's lives directly and intimately every day.
CARE's timely and professional reports are being used by state, national, and international media outlets to highlight the growing Islamophobia targeting American Muslims, Muslim youth, mosques, and Islamic institutions. CARE scored a significant civil rights victory with the return of a Utah imam who had been barred from his home in the United States after being placed on the no-fly list while traveling overseas. CARE is also helping the hundreds of thousands of travelers who face so-called secondary screening based on racial and religious profiling.
Religious profiling is everywhere, unfortunately. It's in our schools, it's when we travel through airports, it's when we cross the border, and it's important to understand that the challenge of religious profiling against Muslims is a generational challenge that will take us many years to overcome.
As the need for CARE's work grows, so does our network of chapters nationwide. In 2017, CARE chapters and offices were launched in Oregon, West Virginia, Colorado, Kentucky, and Texas. "2017 saw the launch of a CARE app designed to let American Muslims and members of other minority groups learn about their rights and report bias incidents. We also saw brave public officials taking a stand, all the way to the Supreme Court, against discriminatory policies like the Muslim ban.
Senator Elizabeth Warren joined the Council on American Islamic Relations and the ACLU to speak against the temporary ban on all refugees as well as immigrants from 7 countries.
He is even trying to shut the door on people who are here legally.
Growing bigotry has propelled American Muslims and others to the front lines in defense of the Constitution and religious freedom. Since the election of Donald Trump, there has been an outpouring of support for American Muslims.
Within 24 hours, we were able to turn out some 20,000 people in Boston for a rally against the Muslim ban. This just shows the tremendous support that the American Muslim community has.
When the hate group Act for America staged anti-Muslim rallies around the country, CARE chapters nationwide helped stage counter-protests that outnumber the Islamophobes and their white supremacist and anti-government allies almost 10 to 1.
CARE and the Muslim community used to be isolated in their fight against anti-Muslim discrimination. But today the landscape is quite different. We're not alone in the fight for justice. The American Muslim community is part and parcel of a broader coalition that fights for equal justice for all. And this is the beauty of the American experience.
CARE helped the community score political victories, like the rejection of a congressional amendment introduced by an Arizona representative that would have stigmatized Islamic beliefs.
If you select out one religion for particular scrutiny, to scrutinize their doctrine, to declare the government what's orthodox and unorthodox, and to identify teachers of it, you have simply abridged the free exercise of that religion.
We had a major victory in defeating Trump-Frank's anti-Islam bill that would have whitelisted and blacklisted Muslim ideology and religious leaders. We worked with our allies in Congress to split 27 Republicans to stand for religious freedom and against this terrible discriminatory act.
CARE's proactive political mobilization helped defeat or deter anti-Islam bills introduced in state legislatures around the country. Also at the state level, thousands of community members and interfaith supporters took part in Capitol Day events sponsored by CARE chapters. When Donald Trump took office in January, CARE joined the hundreds of thousands of Americans who took part in the Women's March for Human Rights in Washington, D.C.
We are proud to serve as the national co-sponsor of the Women's March on Washington, and many of our contributors participated across the country. Zahra Billow from the San Francisco Bay Area office participated as a speaker at the march. We're very proud of the national co-chair, Linda Sarsour. That march was an important time in our nation's history. It was an important time for people to come together in solidarity, to stand shoulder to shoulder to ensure that we would protect one another in the days to come.
I'm very relieved to see that CARE, and I think the broader American Muslim community, has become more energized, more organized, and we're all showing great resilience in the face of these challenges.
When President Trump issued his first Muslim ban, CARE civil rights attorneys joined the thousands of ordinary Americans who went to the nation's airports to offer support to those targeted by the ban. CARE immediately filed a lawsuit challenging that discriminatory policy. As an indication of CARE's growing prominence, a study by an independent media monitoring service showed that over the past year, CARE's civil rights and advocacy work was mentioned in more than 90,000 news articles, with a potential audience of more than 15 billion over that period, and with an advertising value of more than $140 million. With increased prominence comes increased responsibility. Over the past year, CARE has dealt with almost 5,000 civil rights cases. CARE has stepped up operations nationwide. In response to this new challenge, we've added the resources and staff necessary to keep up with the community's needs. And with this breakthrough in visibility on the national stage, CARE has experienced unprecedented support from all segments of American society and is building coalitions with other communities to strengthen the challenge to rising bigotry. This has been an historic time in our nation's history and in that of the American Muslim community. We ask you to join us in making a better future for our families, our community, and our country.
Freedom does not defend itself. It needs someone like you and CARE to work together to secure the future of freedom for American Muslims and everyone in this country.